Hey everybody, bit of a different video this week, but basically I met this guy Matt O'Brien, Mogo, Mr. Mogo. I think we first communicated through him commenting on one of my videos. He saw me in a surf beach car park and we were chatting away, and he's a shaper. He hasn't been shaping for ages, but he's shaped some boards. So we started chatting about boards, and I thought it'd be cool to make a video with him. This is how to make a surfboard. If you don't know anything about that, it might be interesting. If you do know a lot about it already, which I thought I did, it might also be interesting because he's not like a mass manufacturer selling loads of boards. He's just a dude on the Mornington Peninsula selling boards. So if you ever thought, how would I start shaping and selling boards, I think this is a really good guide for that, because that's basically what he's doing. I'm going to link his Instagram, and he's got a board for sale right now actually, which we chat about in this video. So yeah, hope you enjoy the video. It's a bit of a long conversation, but I enjoy videos like that from time to time. So see how it goes. How do you make a surfboard?
You can either start like that. It's a machine shaped blank.
Okay, so this is step. So you buy your blanks from...
His name's Kane. He runs a shop called Ocean Foam, just down behind Bunnings and Rosebud.
Yeah.
So he's got a big CNC there. He can cut out a board like this. So it sort of just leaves little machine ridges.
Yeah.
So you just have to finish sand those out, and then do your rail tuck, because that just comes out as like a square edge. So you sort of taper off your rail a little bit. Yep. And then cut in your tail shape. So it comes as just a square tail.
Yep.
And there's usually like a bigger chunk of foam out there you have to cut off. So you can either do that, like come up with a CNC file, or go and chat to him to make a file, or you can get a stock blank. So this is just how they come straight out of the mould. Usually there'd be a stringer in there and another half.
Yeah.
But so it gives you an idea of how much thickness they come with. So you need to plane them down with a hand planer. So it leaves all these sort of hand planing lines in it, and depending on how good your planing skills are, you can get like tear outs and stuff. So you have to.
So when you say planing,
yeah, so I'll go grab it. It's just like a builder's planer. Yeah. It's one of these.
oh yeah, okay.
So you got your depth gauge, and some people will modify them and you can get like different barrels in them. So like some will just be like a sanding drum almost, that makes it a real fine finish.
Yeah.
But this one's just like a normal builder's one. So you can get a few tear outs pretty easily and stuff if you're not careful. So this one was a hand shape, log. So it started out 2 halves of that with a bit of cedar glued in the middle.
So this started out like that.
Yeah,
there, and
but
then you've
obviously
glued
much bigger. So it would have looked, so this is actually almost what a blank looks like. This is like an old 60s board. So they're just like that, like real chunky, and you have to sort of come up with what you want to do in it. So you go from like that, and then you want to pull it into something more like that.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, they start off pretty similar to that.
Right, okay.
So yeah, the guy at the factory, they come out in one big bit of foam, then he cuts them down the centre, and he'll glue a bit of wood in the middle, like a bit of cedar or plywood. So
yeah.
This is just a plywood stringer.
So do you usually do the stringer, or do you?
Nah, he usually does it.
He usually does.
This is just a bit of scrap foam I got, just to like do some ding repairs or
right,
make sort of
cool
gauges and stuff out of it.
So you'll get like that with a stringer in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then you'll just start hand shaping it like something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I think I used a shorter version of this blank, like a fish blank, to make my fish over here. So the one next to it, this one here.
Oh yeah.
So this one is the same blank as that one. I've got two.
Yeah.
I want to do some different colours. So this one was hand shape as well.
Mogo fish.
Yeah. So it's a sort of chunky 6'3", 22 on something and 3 and something.
I see.
So like for some people it'd be almost a knee board because it came out of a knee board blank, but it's kind of what all the old school fishes were, like back in the 70s and stuff. Well, the original fish was out of a longboard, like a snap longboard.
Yeah.
A knee board, it just sort of put his fins on the board and traced the outline.
Outlined
of his
it,
fins.
yeah. How crazy is that?
Just did something like that.
It's so
yeah.
cool, hey.
And that's why they're always so flat as well.
And it works so well.
Oh yeah, always.
It's it's crazy that just like, he's traced out his flippers.
Yeah.
And it's turned into like this crazy functional
like the
design.
most board in the world at the moment.
Yeah. It's so cool.
But yeah, you can sort of get side by side on these. They're the same blanks. You can get an idea.
Alright, so you get a blank, and then you either get it CNC shaped, or you hand shape it.
Yeah.
And so let's say you've got it CNC shaped, then you're basically sanding it down.
Yeah, I can chuck it on the rack and sort of process it somewhere.
So this is a full hand shape of yours. That
the Kane started running it through a CNC machine on the top, but I think the power must have tripped or something because he had to pull it out. So it had like a little bit of the deck done, but it was like the whole bottom was exactly like that. So I did a full hand shape on the bottom.
Wow.
And the top needed a bit of work too.
So how did you learn how to do that?
I did my first board I did was a timber skin on EPS, kind of like the Firewire Timbertex.
Okay.
So it's one of the, I've got one in here. This one will be easy to get out. This was the first one I did actually. I did it like in the workshop. Cool. Yeah, I did this with a local crew, Mount Eliza, Tree to Sea. So they get their blanks from Kane as well. They come out CNC, but you make them thinner all round, so to account for the thickness of the timber.
How thick's the timber?
This one's 4mm top and bottom, and then there's probably like 18mm on the rails. But when I did my own, I was doing them, this one's another one as well, I was doing 6mm top and bottom. So I did a few hand shaped of these. So I'd like hot wire out a bit of EPS insulation foam, then plane it all down, 6mm thin at top, 6mm thin at
hot
bottom.
Wire.
So yeah, it's just like a
hot, like,
yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, like a, I've got it over there somewhere.
Like
it's like
that, but it's a hot wire basically.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's handheld. So you like make up like a rocket template.
So you do the outline, and then you've just shaved it down from that with the planer and
and then so like you have to sort of, I don't know, it's cool doing it this way, but it's tricky because you have to figure out, all right, I want a 3-inch thick board, I have to subtract 6mm top and bottom from that. Yeah. Like it's kind of annoying to do.
This is sick though.
But they surf really well, really lightweight as well.
Yeah.
No fiberglass on these either. So it's just a wood finish with a like polyurethane varnish. And you can get a bit of concave in them. So then you glue your timber on. The timber just looks like this when you get it. You line it on there with some glue and then vacuum bag it on. Yeah. So I've done 4 or 5 like this. So I've got like an 8-2 in there. Did like that I made on the same template as my first.
So this is the first board you made?
Yeah, in a workshop though. So I had some crew helping me.
Oh, okay.
That sort of got me interested.
Yeah.
That was like my 21st birthday present to my family, was doing this, so True to Sea.
Sick.
So yeah, they're all really nice guys. And then I sort of just did some restos next after doing this. So I going in the house, like an old knee board that I restored, re-glassed it, and then just doing little ding repairs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I started this one back then, but never finished it. And then I sort of thought, fiberglassing is just quicker. So like it'd take me like a week and a bit to do a board like this. Whereas like you can knock out a fiberglass board in like 2 days, pretty easy.
Right.
Like especially like a mid or a short board or a fish or something.
Yeah.
Something like that takes a little longer, but like not too bad. Yeah, so
The TimberTech construction.
the TimberTech's cool because like, I don't know, it's not toxic at all. Like you can do the whole process with like no mask and no gloves. But with this, so I'll plunk this down usually. And then I'll turn on a side light and plug it in. Just it helps you see the shadows of the machining lines.
So this is that board, right?
Same,
It's
same
just
blank. Hasn't been done yet. Yeah. So I'll turn on the side light, it highlights all the machine cutter headlines.
Yeah.
Then you just get something like this, like a foam pad, just so you don't dig in like crevices from your fingers, and it's pretty easy. You literally just go like that until you get rid of the line. So you do that top and bottom, and then you paint after that. So you just set up with a compressor and a spray gun, just water-based paint straight onto the foam, let it dry for a day.
Yeah.
Then you pull out your fiberglass, mix up some resin and spread it on, and then it looks like that's been hot coated. So the resin comes out like real kind of tacky still when you laminate, and it's like quite sharp and bumpy, and then you put a hot coat on it to seal it off and make it sandable.
Yeah.
Because like normal resin really like gums up your sandpaper a lot.
So there's a bit to it.
Yeah, there's a bit, yeah. But I don't know, to get to this stage on hand shape is about 4 hours of work, or you can get it cut in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some old school dudes that are weapons on the planer. Like they can start with a blank and get it planed in like half an hour. But
yeah.
I need to make a lot more measurements and stuff. They just do it all by feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to start out in shaping, you would recommend
get it. Yeah,
get
definitely
a CNC
CNC.
cut.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Unless,
if you got someone that can do it. Otherwise, like I think like Shapers and Sanded, like the websites where you can buy a lot of like tools and stuff. Like you can get your short form files and router bits and stuff. They sell finished blanks as well from Queensland, but shipping's a bit of a killer.
Yeah.
So if you're in Vic, you can go Ocean Foam and Rosebud.
Yeah, right.
Definitely the way to go.
So that's the blank.
Yeah.
That's shaping the blank.
Yeah.
And then glassing. Looks like you got some glass back there.
Yeah, so I've just got a roll, like, I don't know, a lot of people go 4 ounce, but I just bought a big roll of 6 ounce because it's the most versatile. But otherwise, like, if you're just going to do a one-off, you can just buy a couple meters from whoever you buy your blank from, or from a local surf shop. Like, my first fish I got my glass from Rory at Oak in Brayside.
Yeah, right.
And I got some resin and stuff from him as well. Like, if you don't want to go out, like, now I buy it in a 20 litre drum. Just because I'm doing enough boards, so just there.
Yeah, okay.
On the ground.
Yep.
But otherwise, they're all pretty friendly, the local dudes. Like, they'll sell you a few litres of resin and a few metres of cloth.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good option. But yeah, and I use poly resin. So
you put how many layers of glass on the top and bottom?
Because I'm pretty like hefty. Like I like a pretty solid board, so I do a single layer of 6 ounce on the bottom. So you do your bottom first because it sort of locks in your rocker, and then flip it, and then I do a double 6 ounce on the top.
Locks in your rocker.
Yeah, because it's not so much a problem with stringed blanks, but like sometimes if you've got like a stringless blank and you glass the top first, as the glass cures, it tightens, and it can flatten the board out a bit.
Right.
It's like this board here, because someone's peeled the glass off the bottom, the glass is still on the top. It's like actually reversed the rocker.
Right.
Because it hasn't got the tension holding the rocker in from the bottom lamination, and that's a stringless blank.
Right.
Whereas that one, from the same shaper back in the 60s, is also stringless, but it's held its rocker because the glass is still
on the bottom.
Still intact.
Yeah, right.
So you can actually kind of see, like down the bottom, the tail flicks down that way.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. Usually, standard practice, glass your bottom first.
Glass your bottom first. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that.
Some people will route the fin boxes into the foam, then glass over them, but I kind of like doing it separate. I'll just glass the bottom, glass the top, then do the fin boxes. Because it's kind of like, if you glass the bottom, you have to fiddle around your fin boxes a lot, and then this resin kicks in like 10 minutes. So you don't have long to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're using epoxy, you can get away with doing your fin boxes first, I reckon.
So you glass the bottom. So what you're like putting a layer of glass, and I think everyone's seen videos of it, but you put a layer of glass on it, and then you put like a bucket of resin.
Yeah, you pour your resin on it. Like you kind of want to get it out of your bucket as quick as possible, or else it will just kick in your bucket.
And then you're just kind of scraping it along.
You squeeze it along, like light pressure till it soaks through. Then sort of get more pressure to get the bubbles out. Then tuck your laps under.
Yeah.
So you'll have like an overhang of cloth hanging down that you have to wet out and pull underneath.
Yeah.
Because you kind of want a lot of beef in the rails. Because that's where all your damage is going to happen, really, most of the time in your rails. Then you let that tack off. Any like little overlaps or air bubbles you can sand off, so they'll get filled up in the next lamination.
Yep.
Then just flip it over and straight over with the double stick.
So do you have to wait for it to cure?
Yeah, about like so you get like 15 minutes before it'll gel off and you can't spread it anymore, and then you'll probably have an hour until it's tacky enough to flip over and do the next side. So you can glass a board in a day quite easily.
Yeah.
And then you sort of wait, I don't know, 4 hours before you can hot coat it.
Yeah.
Which I know, hot coating is probably the most satisfying part because you get to see all the colours really pop and everything.
Yeah,
so just you mix up a bucket of just resin and just paint it on.
So you're just adding another layer of resin over the glass.
To fill in the weave.
Yeah,
like when you laminate, it just leaves like a really rough weave pattern that you have to fill in before you can sand it.
So it starts to look like a finished board.
That's at this stage. This is a single hot coat top and bottom.
Yeah.
So usually Like you can do a single hot coat if you want like a sanded finish. So like that purple and yellow board, that's just a sanded finish, single hot coat.
Yeah.
Usually if you want to do a glossy finish, you want to do 2 hot coats just to get rid of any voids or anything or dry weave that you sanded through.
Yep.
But because I use such a heavy lamination, I usually want to get away with a single hot coat. Like
Just so you don't have too much
wave, yeah. But if you do a pretty solid lamination and then a good even hot coat, you can actually get away with polishing a single hot coat pretty well.
Yeah, right.
So this is just a single hot coat polish. It's a bit dirty at the moment. But kind of like see here where you can see a bit of weave.
Clean.
Yeah. So you can see a bit of dry weave from sanding. If you do a second hot coat, you wouldn't see that at all.
Right.
So it's
You
have to be very nitpicky.
I'll be honest, I can't really see it.
Yeah, it's sort of in certain light. You can see some strings of fiberglass.
Okay. Yep.
But like it's something you have to be super picky on.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas if I'd sanded that and then done another hot coat and then polished it, you wouldn't notice it at all.
Yeah, right.
But it's just a sacrifice for weight, really. Because like, you probably wouldn't want a board much heavier than that in a 7-footer.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you hot coat and then you
Sand it and then
fin boxes.
fin boxes, yeah.
So you got a template
usually
for the fin boxes?
Yeah, I always go futures. Just for like the same reasons why glass heavy. Like I've always popped out like FCS fin boxes. So I got futures. So you just plonk that down and then you put your router over it. It follows the base. So it cuts out your groove for your fin box perfectly.
Yep.
And then there's your boxes here.
So how do you know where to put them?
So you mark out, like I know, there's a couple websites like forums like Swaylocks and Greenlight Surf Supply. They have like some just numbers of what people sort of go to. Like pretty much like your rear thruster fin, you always put like 3.5 inches from the tail. And then your front to be, I don't know, like 12, 14 inches up from tail. So you mark it all out with a square, like a shape of a square. Flip the board over. Okay.
So I feel like that's something that people play with quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, fin positioning is pretty important. Like, you can make or break a board. Definitely. You use something like this. It's just like a see-through layout square. So you put that on your tail, and then you're about, right, I want my trailer fin 3 or 4 inches up. So you'd mark a dot there, and then you'd say I want my like rail fin, like for a 20, I usually get like 10 inches up. So I'd mark a dot there, draw a line across, and then you mark out how far you want it from the tail, like from the rail. So usually like on a flyer, I like to place it sort of near the flyer. So you can mark that there, and then you can be like, right, I want it like 1.5 inches off the rail, and then you put your toe in. So you always want your fin sort of pointing towards the stringer down the line. So like if you put it dead straight, it'll fly.
Yeah, like how much toe do you...
I usually, like on a 20, I'll do 1/8 of an inch toe in. So like each little line here is a 1/16 of an inch. So I'd go like a medium line across. Yeah. So that's pretty well perfect for a 20. You can do sort of like 5/16 or something for a thruster. You can go a little bit more for a thruster, but then all of a sudden you sort of just get real wobbly.
Yeah.
Like if you go too much toe in. But
have you seen those new Futures fins with the changed toe on the tip?
No, I think I've seen like
the Vector 3.2.
Yeah, there used to be a lot like I don't know. Back in like the 2000s, even in the 80s, like Strapper surfboards in Torquay, they used to do like a turbo fin, which had like a full like
crazy
concave to it. It was weird. Right, so like both the fins, if you look down the stringer, would like sort of come in like that. So it was so weird.
Is that cant?
Yeah, but it was like cant, but like in a concave. Because I know like a lot of FCS and Futures now, they put like a concave face this way on them. But yeah, I've seen people have gone crazy with fins at the moment. Then you get like the old dudes like Shane Haran back in the 70s, they'd have the star fins. So they'd come up and they'd have like a foil wing on them. It's crazy. But like fins are definitely probably one of the most important factors of a board. Like you can make a pretty shit board and put your fins in the wrong spot and bugger it pretty easy. Like, or you could make a shit board with fins in the good spot and it'll go well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's like 50% of the, when you're surfing, 50% of the area that's actually in the water is fin.
Yeah, fins and rail, yeah. And I know, like, people get pretty carried over in bottom contours, but I go pretty basic. Like, this is like a pretty...
Have you played around with them?
Yeah, like, I've got a real deep double in that. It's fun. Like, it does make a bit of a difference to feel, but it sort of doesn't change the way, like, your surfing looks.
Right.
much, I don't reckon, but
Yeah.
for some people it would. And then like a longboard, I always do like a pretty rolled bottom, because I know I've restored this thing and it's actually super fun, and that's just like quite knifey sort of 50-50 rail with a really rolled bottom.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty fun on like a mellow day, but honestly, like my fishes are always dead flat on the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
Just like, because you want speed on a fish, like you're not taking it out on a pumping day, you're always taking it out on like a mushy sort of day where you probably should be on a bigger board anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always go dead flat on a fish. Maybe like a little bit of single concave through the nose, but usually pretty flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many boards do you reckon you've shaped?
Not many, only like 10.
10?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
Not
done
a
it.
lot.
How long have you been doing it?
Like, I did that one in 2021, and then I didn't
Right.
do any for like a year and a half, probably.
Yeah.
And then start of the year before last, I did like 4 or 5 of those wooden ones, and then it's just sort of in the last 8 months I've been doing foam and fiberglass ones.
Yeah, right.
So I've done like 6 or 7 foam and fiberglass ones. Probably 6, yeah. Thereabouts.
So that's how you shape a board?
Pretty much, yeah.